Welcome back to Shred is Not Dead. If it makes you bang your head, we'll talk with him or about him. I'm joined today by the director of drumming, cymbal hitter in chief of Hailstorm, Arejay Hale. How are you, buddy?
Shred is not dead. That's right. No truer statement has ever been said.
You come up with that just like,
Yeah, I'm good. What can I say?
impressive.
Thanks for
I
having
have to
me.
work out some royalty deals for that little soundbite you provided me as well.
Oh, feel free to use it all you want. I don't care. I'm for free.
So, do you want to tell the Aussie fans the good news, or shall I?
Why don't you? It's your show. You intro it.
Yeah. All right. So, for those of you who don't know, Hailstorm coming out soon. 3 nights in Australia, 2 nights in New Zealand.
What?
Headlining. Did I get that right?
Yeah, no, you nailed it.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. This is the first
anyway.
you've heard of it. Yeah. Okay.
To be honest, you would probably know more than me at this point.
Well, now you know.
Now I know. Cool.
Yeah. Last time out here was, if I got this right, back in 2019, and you did the download tour earlier in the year and liked it so much you came back to headline later in the same year.
I know. I was really glad that we got to hit it twice, right before everything was taken away from us for so long, So I'm really excited to get back. This will be our first time back there post-COVID, and I'm just so excited to come to Australia. I don't just say that about anywhere. Like, for real, Australia is like one of those places that I go to, and I'm like, if it doesn't really work out with America, I could live here. I feel like I could move to Australia and not even skip a beat. I just love it down there.
Yeah, why is that? What is it about Australia that works for you?
I mean, what isn't about Australia? I love the weather. I love the being near the ocean. I love I love the food. Oh my God. Like, I feel like I eat so well in Australia. Like, I can stumble in any local, like, I feel like in most places there's not a McDonald's in sight, Like, I feel like I stumble into like a local coffee shop or breakfast place or whatever, sandwich shop, salad shop, and I can like find really wholesome, delicious, like unprocessed, free range, ethically done, and like low GMO, low preservative, pesticide. Everything is just so much, it's just done so much better out there. Like the way that your agriculture system is just so much better than ours out here. And the proof is in how it makes me feel. Like last time we were in Australia, we were there for a couple weeks and I was eating so well down there. When we flew back home, we had a layover in New York and I got a sandwich at a local shop there and my stomach was hurting like crazy. Like, I felt like shit. I was like, oh my God, I'm going back to this crap processed American food, So that's a big part of it. And of course, the major part of it, and this is not just me sucking up, like, for real, like the culture down there. Like, people are so incredibly nice and friendly and empathetic. And I'm seeing so much of that is just so obvious when I see what's going on down there right now with the flooding and all that. Like, in the local communities, I'm just seeing everybody pitching in, everybody helping out, everyone looking out for one another. And that's just like, it just reassures me that the people down there are so good and so thoughtful of one another.
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly not perfect, but I'd like to think that sort of
Nobody is.
mateship is the quality that we do have on our side. That's good. This actually touches on something I was going to bring up close to the end of the interview, but you script these things out and they never go the way you expect. So,
sorry.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
train.
No, this is something I want to talk about. Drumming. I'm sure you want to talk about it too. So you mentioned,
if I have to.
You mentioned that it felt good to be in Australia and I mean, you know about our weather, having played 2 outdoor festivals in the summertime. Drumming's a physical art. It's brutal. It requires almost an athletic kind of dedication to it, as maybe more so than the rest of the band, or maybe bar singing, which can be really
you're dead on
aerobic intensive. So that wasn't an issue for you. You found even with the heat and with being out in the element playing, that was something that's not it's not stopping you anytime soon from going somewhere to play, or
Well, the heat doesn't really bother me at all. I think I'm pretty well conditioned for that because you're right. I like for the past several years I've been trying to think like an athlete. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the reasons I love about Australia is that like I can eat really healthy, I can get outside and exercise, I can hit a local gym, and that's just been a part of my daily touring routine is just trying to adopt healthier lifestyle changes, and that's the only way for me to continue giving my body the punishment that I give it from the style of drumming that I have acquired, and now I've kind of made my bed, now I have to live in it, is I have to do all the necessary steps outside of that to so I can continue to play and perform the way that I want, I don't want to have to be forced to feather tap because I know that our sound guy, he wants me to hit the drums as hard as I possibly can. And for years before, like, even adopting healthier lifestyles, I've, every single hit, I could feel it. Like it hurt. And it just like was just really just kind of getting into my mind when I would go on stage and think like, oh, fuck, like this is going to hurt. Like, oh shit. But luckily, and this was kind of a silver lining of the pandemic, was it as much as it was hard on a lot of us, and I feel mostly for the music goers that, we found out how therapeutic live music really is. And also for the crew people, like the techs and all that, who solely depend on live music. But as a band person, like we can do other things outside of touring and we'll be fine. Don't feel bad for us. But one of the, even though it definitely was weird, like our whole life was flipped upside down. But one of the silver linings was just having the time to kind of focus on my physical health and mental health, and as well as many other things, so I was just really focusing on rehabbing myself. And now that we're going back into it, I feel like a brand new person hitting the stage now. Like I do my icing for my wrists, my elbow, my shoulder. I take my supplements for reducing inflammation. I eat in a way that keeps inflammation low. I was diagnosed with tendonitis in my wrist from a physical therapist, and she was the one that told me about the ice baths, and it's for my hands and wrists. She got the idea from Max Weinberg, actually, who does that, who's a beast of a drummer well into his, I don't know, how old is he, 70 or something, and still crushing it with Bruce Springsteen. So like I have to look up to guys like that and people like that so I can have a future continuing to do this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Max, it's the case now. What his kid would be ballpark your age, and he's still crushing it. Like,
with Slipknot now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Jay Weiberg of Slipknot.
That's a physically demanding gig, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't even think that he really hides behind the other percussionists in that band. I think that you could drop them out and he'd still be carrying the percussive element, but my God.
He's the hardest working guy on that stage.
Oh, exactly. So from the point of view of someone who doesn't play drums but knows what they like when it comes to drums, having a listen to Back from the Dead, one thing that stood out to me is it really sounds like you're giving those cymbals the what for. And the drum mix as a whole is a bit more bodied. And when you do that, one thing I'd like to ask you about is the mix and the trade-off between having this awesome percussive driving element and the way that it affects the amount of mix space you have left for the other instruments. And then, of course, the transition live, where you don't want to make it murky. And like a lot of death metal bands really struggle with the drums just producing this massive ringing because of all the elements of the drums coming out and not sitting nice and tight. And then sometimes if you get it tuned in nice and tight, you have to do the really clicky, triggered double bass sound that no one really likes. So where do you sit on the philosophy of that?
I'm not entirely against triggers. We don't use them just because we have two incredibly badass sound engineers, our monitor guy, Chris Mo, and our Simo, we call him, and our front of house guy who's been with us since 2012, Mike Mahar, is a legend in the front of house audio world. Both of them are just badasses. They work together so well. So just to kind of unpack what you were saying, I'll start from the recording process. I have a lot a lot of that I have to thank my main co-writer, collaborator, and also became second producer along with Nick Rustiolenix, who is a legend in the recording world. But Scott Stevens has been one of our main collaborators for forever. He wrote Miss the Misery with us. So, I mean, ever since back in the day. But he was a big champion for me in the studio, encouraging everyone around me to just kind of let me be a little more expressive on the drums, be a little less safe, a little less held back. I feel like most of my career producers have told me to play less, dumb it down, keep it simple, leave a lot of space. But when we were falling into that routine again, Scott and Nick both were kind of brought to our attention that it sounds like we're just falling into the same old with Hailstorm, and it's sounding kind of stale and kind of boring. So Scott, who I'd been writing with for Chemical Fire for this other project that I'm doing with Taylor Carroll from Lit, we were writing all throughout the pandemic, and also writing for Hailstorm and doing both and doing it all. I started sending him all these crazy drum files for Chemical Fire, and he's like, wait, you can play this stuff? And I'm like, yeah, this is how I like to play, and Hailstorm has always kind of been more, there's always been a lot of restraint with tracking for Hailstorm with what I am allowed to play or whatever. And he was like, dude, you got to bring this stuff to the new Hailstorm record. We need this energy. We need this aggression, And he was right. I think he has a really good finger on the pulse of the average rock listener that wants to hear that passionate energy, raw. You brought up Slipknot. I mean, that's what makes Slipknot so great. Even to people who aren't traditionally metal fans, they listen to Slipknot and they're like, you know what? I'm not a metal person, but I really respect what they're doing. And he kind of wanted something like that for us. He wanted us to bring that aggression and energy and that real raw emotion in the studio. So it was a challenge for me, but it was really fun. I dusted off my double pedal because I hadn't played double bass in so long. I've always been like a single bass player. Got to do double bass again, and now I'm applying it to the live show and had to expand my drum kit and make it a lot bigger. So that was the process in the studio, and then to translate live and, like you said, like not make it sound muddied up, not make it sound murky, try to reduce the amount of cymbal wash. Well, one of the greatest secrets to our state, to our live sound, and I've been telling everybody this, just try it. We actually mic the toms inside. So what we do is we cut the bottom, so we have no bottom heads. We cut the bottom heads out. We leave about an inch lip so the bottom rim can stay on. And then we mount Audix D6s inside the toms, which are kick drum mics. Oddly enough, they sound phenomenal. Even in my smallest 10-inch rack tom, it doesn't matter. We still have D6s. Also, my drum tech is a great drum tuner, Nicky Bobby. He tunes them really low. So basically, like, all my toms kind of sound like really punchy kick drums. So they're not ringy. They're very focused, very... and I feel like that's... And also, I'm playing smaller drum sizes. I switched to a 20-inch kick drum. And we use a 91 and a D6 in that as well. So all those elements combined, and also our sound guy's incredible ability to gate out a lot of cymbal wash, and also the fact that our tom mics are isolated inside the toms, reducing the amount of cymbal bleed into the toms, really helps to kind of, like you said, like prevent the overall mix from sounding washed out from cymbals, which are like the loudest thing on stage. And so I feel like all those forces combined has really just helped our overall mix live sound very focused and kind of enables us to play more notes, to play more parts. And for me, especially to go a little extra crazy on the drums without worrying about the sound in an arena sounding all jumbled and like you said, like just making it sound all muddy and mushy. So yeah, those are some secrets I just revealed for anyone out there who's been struggling with that. I suggest you try all those things out and see if it works for you.
Well, there you go. Thanks for spilling trade secrets on the show.
Oh,
you heard it here
happy
first,
to spill. You're getting some very exclusive secrets on your show. I hope that this helps you and your numbers.
Oh, certainly hope so. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of drummers that I'm not used to dealing with coming in, going, "Oh, can you get more drummers on? This is great."
Yeah, seriously, man. Like, feel free to spread the word.
Speaking of plugging things, I see that YouTube subscribe button in the background there.
Oh.
you want to go ahead and plug your show? Is it a recorded show, a live stream? What do you do?
Well, whether you prompted it or not, I was going to plug it because I'm so excited. I love making fragrance content. It's become one of my side passions because, like I was saying earlier, like during the pandemic, all I was doing was songwriting. And I really feel like thanks to the pandemic, I became a much stronger songwriter during this, album process. And also with the Chemical Fire stuff and with everything, like I feel much stronger, much more confident as a songwriter and as a singer because I'm doing a lot more singing with Hailstorm and with Chemical Fire. So like you were saying, drummers and singers are probably the most physically taxed people in the music world, and I'm doing both. So I have to really, really make healthy life choices. But something that's really great mental therapy for me and a great distraction just from, as much as music has been my therapy, when you do it long enough, you need a distraction from that too sometimes. So during the pandemic, I started really getting into the art of perfumery, and I was really wanting to incorporate, try to, expand my collection of fragrances that I would take with me on tour, just so if you can't find a shower somewhere, at least you can smell good. And I always like the idea of when you meet fans, you wanna dress your best, you wanna be engaging, you wanna show them your best self. And I feel like having a really nice scent on just kind of adds to the overall experience of interacting with the people at the shows. So all those things combined, and also being a fan of a lot of other fragrance content creators on YouTube kind of inspired me. Guys like Dallas at Chaos Fragrances, or John at Refinery Fragrances, or Brian at My Two Cents. Those guys I'd been following for a while. And then I started making my own fragrance content and started just kind of giving my take on some of my favorite scents out there since I've dived into and explored and smelled, because I feel like it feels like olfactory music to me, Perfumery is like the music of the nose. So I just had such a blast just sampling a bunch of things and getting a bunch of things and just smelling them and experiencing them and putting them on. And it also just kind of it is kind of like a little stress relief, when you find a really good fragrance with really good performance, one that you can smell on you as you're out and about. You can get whiffs of the sillage. It has this calming effect on your brain. At least it does for me. So I've been trying. So I wanted to start my own YouTube channel because I've been such an advocate for mental health, and I've been such a strong supporter of therapy and all the lifestyle changes and all the things that go towards keeping yourself more mentally balanced. And I wanted to share my passion for perfumery as being another one of those things that really just kind of makes me feel at ease and feel very calm, and it's just a fun thing for me to do. I honestly, the process of recording and editing fragrance content and putting my own little silly personality into it, where I feel like I really can fully become a cartoon character, that is also in itself therapeutic for me when I'm on tour. When I have downtime on tour, I love to just put my headphones in and work on my laptop. When I'm not working on songs or working on music, I'll edit fragrance content, and it's just been a fun little side thing for me to do. And we're building a really cool community over there on YouTube, and we get to interact in the comments. So if you don't mind my plugging my channel, go on over to. Are we on YouTube right now?
No, we'll be on Spotify.
Oh, well, okay, well, keep that's fine, because when you switch from Spotify to YouTube, you can keep hearing this. So right now, while you're on your Spotify, open up your YouTube app and search Dr. Magnificent, S-C-E-N-T, like scent of smell, and give me a sub if you don't mind. It's really fun over there. Check out some content I got. So
we love a good
if you want to nerd out and kind of get an inside look into my wacky fragrance loving inside world,
Excellent. Well, I think that's what we've got time for. RJ, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We'll see you.
Do we run out of time, really? Oh, God, yeah. I'm so sorry that I spent most of it talking about fragrance. Was there anything last minute you wanted to bring up before I go? Or
I think we're good. Just if you're listening at home, get down, see RJ drum his ass off over here. And
come see the show and smell how good I smell. And maybe I'll bring a few things with me, and I'll get to share some, get to show some of the local Australians my favorite summertime scents, which I'm really excited about. I'm going there in February, which I'm leaving winter here and going to summer there, so I'm bringing my fresh and fun summer scents with me. So
you need like a t-shirt cannon, but it just blasts nice big wafts of scent.
That's actually a really brilliant idea. I'll start signing the fragrance blotters, with the scent on it. I'll give, instead of guitar picks, I'll do that. I'll do like little fragrance strips, I'll write down what the fragrance is and I'll sign it. So I'll leave that somewhere in a department store. So, check the urinals.
I look forward to the best smelling summer tour of my life. I will catch you on the road. Thank you very much,
dude.
For your time, Arejay.
I'll see you in like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. Yeah.
I'm Jordan, and you've been listening to the Shred Is Not Dead podcast. Hailstorm hit the road, starting in New Zealand next January, with one show already sold out and one well on the way to selling, and then Australia in early February. Go online, get your tickets now before it's all gone, check it out, have a good time. Catch you in the next episode.